everybody. Today I want to start teaching you how to subtract decimals. So if you would, make this the next title in your math notebook. When you have done that, close it up, put that pencil down, just keep that brain in tune, and I'll let you know when it's time to write. All right, so we've probably already talked about adding decimals. If you need to do that, I'll just make one up real quick. If I was going to add something like 32 and 43 hundredths plus 6 and 8 tenths. The key to adding decimals is to line up all the place values. So when I start with this number, this has tens, ones, tenths, and hundredths. And I've got to line up the same thing with the next number. So here is the ones, here is the ones. So when I add those up, the 6 ones are going to get added to the 2 ones. Line up my place values. Decimal lines up with decimal. Tenths lines up with tenths. So when I add decimals, I set it up like that. There's going to be some numbers with nothing to add to them. That's okay. So like this number 6 and 8 tenths, it doesn't have any hundredths. So I imagine kind of like there's a 0 there. There aren't any. But I don't have to write that. It's not any harder to do the math with that there. And then I just add as normal, just like they were whole numbers. I don't have to do any special procedure for that. So 3 plus, there's nothing to add to the 3 hundredths. There are no hundredths in this number. That's 3, 4 tenths, and 8 tenths. I'm going to keep 2 tenths here, regroup the other 10 into a 1. 6 and 2 is 8, plus 1 more is 9, and 3. So that is how you add decimals, and subtracting decimals, super similar. So what we're going to do today, we're going to start with ones that have the same place values. You'll notice these two numbers I have here to subtract. They both have tens and ones and tenths and hundredths and thousandths. So when I add those numbers together, all I have to do is line that up. And it's really easy to line that up when they have the same place values. So tens with tens, ones with ones, decimal with decimal, tenths, hundredths, thousandths. And then I just add as normal. I'm sorry, subtract as normal. I wrote down there. Let's fix that. All right. So 5 minus 6, can't do that. So I'm going to regroup that into 15. I need to take one from here. There aren't any for me to take from there, so I'm going to have to do some work. Let me go back and regroup. So I need to take one of these to make 10 of these. Don't have any. So I'm going to go back here, take one of these to make 10 of these. And now I can take one of these to make 10 of these. So a little bit of work when there's a 0. Remember, when we subtract across a 0, that's always one of the toughest spots. Should be quick from here. 15 minus 6 is 9. 9 minus 4 is 5. 1 minus 1 is 0. Decimal minus decimal is still decimal. 8 minus 6 is 2, and 3 minus 1 is 2. And I get 22 and 59 thousandths. So that's what to do when they all have the same place values. What if they don't? So you'll notice this next one I'm going to do, tens, no tens, ones, ones, tenths, tenths, hundredths, no hundredths, thousandths, no thousandths. So I've got to do the same things when I add. I've got to make sure I line up all the place values properly. So the first number, 38 and 205 thousandths, take away. The 8 ones get taken away from the 8 ones. Decimal lines up with decimal. And the 4 tenths get taken away from the 2 tenths. So I've got to line everything up just so. And once I've done that, it's just like adding. 0 has nothing under it, excuse me, and the 5 has nothing under it. That's because 8 and 4 tenths has no hundredths and has no thousandths. You can write those in if you want. That number and that number are the same, exact same value. And it's fine to write those in, or it's fine to leave those out. Doesn't matter. When they're in the bottom number, they're not a big deal. So 5 minus the 0 I don't see is 5. 0 minus the 0 I don't see is 0. 2 minus 4 I'm going to have to regroup. 12 minus 4 is 8. Decimal minus decimal is decimal. 7 minus 8, going to have to regroup again. And we're there. 29 and 805 thousandths. All right, let's write down an example of each of those in your notebook. So if you will, on the page you titled, we're going to do 2 examples. So we do number 1, they're going to have the same place values. We do number 2, they're not. So these numbers, note, they have the same values. If you want to write this in your notes, they both have tens, they both have ones, they both have tenths, and they both have hundredths. So I can add that in. And when they have the same place values, all I have to do is line these up. So I'm going to do 47 and 6 hundredths, take away 30 and 88 hundredths, and I'm just going to subtract as normal. Everything's lined up, tens with tens, ones with ones, tenths with tenths, hundredths with hundredths. 6 minus 8, I'm going to have to regroup. 16, I had nothing here to take from, so I've got to go back another spot. So I'm going to take one of these to make 10 of these, and now I can take one of those to make 10 of those. So the big regroup when you've got the 0, always a pain. And then subtract. 8, 1, decimal, 6, 1. 16 and 18 hundredths. For we do number 2, when you're ready to unpause, I want to look when they have different place values. You'll notice this one has tens, ones, tenths, hundredths, and thousandths. This one only has ones and tenths. No tens, no hundreds, no thousandths, and same thing, we've got to line these up. It's going to be very important. So I've got to line the right spots up with the right ones. 747 and 66 thousandths. Take away 5 ones, come from the 7 ones, and 8 tenths come from the no tenths. All right, let's subtract them. So remember, if you want to write these in, I'll even do them in dotted, you can. There's nothing to subtract from the 6s, so they just kind of stay like that. You can imagine this number as being this number if you like. They're the same number. 8 tenths and 800 thousandths are the same amount. 6 minus 0 is 6. 6 minus 0 is 6. 0 minus 8. Gonna have to do a bit of a regroup. 2, 1, and 4. See, all that's really the key. When you get started subtracting decimals, as long as you line up the right place values, there's nothing different to do. It's just subtracting like normal. You regroup like normal and all of that. Hope that makes tons of sense. In the next one, we'll deal with what if the bottom digit has fewer digits than the top digit has fewer digits than the bottom digit. That's a tougher situation, and we'll address that one next time. See you then.